It's finally official. FSD v12.4 has rolled out to Tesla's employees. It's no longer a rumor, it's fully confirmed. Tesla is also preparing to launch FSD beta testing in China, and a Tesla delivery center in Beijing has reportedly had its highest volume delivery day yet, with footage from the site showing it full of both cars and customers. We don't know how many deliveries were made, but we will find out very soon as China's numbers come out. Last week was pretty good at 13,800. V12.4 is going to be a big deal, not only because the steering wheel nag will be gone, and also not because it should arguably be 13. It's a big deal because the number of interventions should be greatly reduced. The improvement should be 5 to 10x. With the last few releases, typically a new version to customers gets deployed very soon after it goes out to all of Tesla's employees. So us regular mortals should be getting this new version pretty soon, probably this week, or at least no later than next week. And we're gonna dive now into a 30-minute drive on the latest FSD version 12.4. I also posted 2 Patreon videos. People are ignoring this, but it will help Tesla tremendously. And another one about good Tesla news. This is from a private source, so that's why I'm not sharing this publicly. Once it is public though, I will share it in a public video too. I found one 30-minute video, supposedly on V12.4, and the drive, well, take a look. It's a pretty boring drive, so it's a bit hard to tell just how much better this version is compared to the previous ones. And as you can see, the video is also cut, so you don't really know, is it really that much better in terms of interventions? But you can see that, yeah, it is driving. I wouldn't come to any conclusions from this really. I would need to see a lot more than this. But first 12.4 video looks not terrible so far. I also have no idea who this person is. I'm not sure where this is. Is this San Francisco? I have no idea really. I don't recognize what city this is. I'm sure someone knows. If you recognize what place this is, leave a comment down below, because that will also change how good FSD performs. There's also a bit of highway here as well. Not much, but a little bit. It'll be interesting to see if really it is now one stack, or maybe the highway still has a different stack. And I saw one issue here with the lane selection. This is my main complaint with FSD v12, but this was nowhere near as bad as what I usually experience with the current FSD version that I got, 12.3.6. The person that made this video says he is not a Tesla employee. I wonder if, let's say, his friend or spouse is. How come did he get this version before all of us? Pay attention to this. He can turn on auto park sort of before coming to a complete 100% stop. It's a bit harder to tell how fast the car was still going, or if it was really, but that wasn't really possible before, and that's one big reason why I tend to never even try to use auto park, because I have to come to a complete full stop just to turn it on, and then when I turn it on, it's a bit gimmicky and it tries to do a 3-point turn when it doesn't really need to. It often, for me, tries to park multiple times, and then I have people giving me weird looks because it just doesn't really quite work well enough for me to want to use it constantly. I tried to avoid it actually, pretty much. Here's another example. So the spot has been chosen, the car is going. It's a bit hard to really know just from these few. I mean, when I use this is pretty slow. So the only thing that we are really looking at here is it safe? Well, it's not. It's being pretty decisive about what it wants to do. Although for a spot like this, I would hope no freeway turn would have been needed. But okay, we got in. And looking at this, yeah, you can definitely turn it on before it comes to a complete stop. Now keep in mind that my experience with auto park is relatively limited. I used it probably less than 50 times, and that's mainly because I mean, if I'm completely alone and there are no cars around me, okay, if I'm not in a rush at all and I'm really curious just to try and watch the vehicle really carefully, then okay, I will try. But these are pretty much the only circumstances that I will use it. Whereas for FSD, yeah, if I'm alone in the car, or if I have someone in the car that knows that sometimes FSD may do something silly, then I almost always turn it on. But if I have passengers that are not familiar with FSD at all, or if I don't want to explain to them what it is, I will turn it off unless I have used FSD on this particular road many times and I know it's not going to do anything silly. But if I'm by myself, I am using FSD pretty much every time. Maybe except if I'm just too lazy to put my destination into navigation because it's a pretty short trip and it just putting the thing in, it takes away time from me just getting there faster. Now, some of you will say, but just use voice commands and it will work. Yeah, that often works, but often it doesn't quite fully choose the right destination because I either don't know the exact address, I just know the name of the building, for example, and sometimes it picks the wrong location. Maybe instead of going to downtown location of a particular restaurant, it takes me to a location close by, and that's a bit annoying. So what I often find myself doing is I just turn FSD on the moment I get on the road, and then I just turn the turning signal on when I need to. Okay, the car needs to turn right, turn it on, and then it just does it. And then eventually when, let's say I'm on a highway or someplace where I can look at the navigation for a little bit longer, and if I need to play with the navigation a little bit because maybe I don't even know the exact location that I'm going to, I'll just usually do that. Wait until like maybe I stop at a traffic light and it's red and I know I don't need to do anything for 30 seconds and okay, quickly, bam, go here. And for voice commands, it's not because it misunderstands me. I have native speakers with me as well who have the exact same issue, and it usually works more often than it doesn't. But for very short trips, I tend to get a bit, for example, if I need to go to the airport, it doesn't quite pick the exact right location I wanted to go. I also saw a few people say that autopark can park better than they can. Yeah, I'm not, I mean, it's a bit slow. It's not super slow, but I would like it to go faster. But the reason why I think it's not going faster, it's not because it cannot. It's because when I sit in that car and I experience it come too close a few times to a pole, for example, or a column or one vehicle, yeah, it even when it looks like it's going a bit too slow, sometimes I feel like I don't want it to go as fast. So I think that's the reason why it's going relatively slowly and not fast. It's not because it cannot. It's because Tesla said, okay, we know you can be a little naughty still, so go slow. Anyway, in this particular clip, I don't think it's going any faster than the current version, but it can switch directions before a complete stop. There are still people that are on V11, but the good news is V12.4 is going to go out to everyone, so no one should be left behind on V11 anymore. In the meantime, Omar has a suggestion, and I would agree with this suggestion if the new FSD version is indeed 5 to 10 times better compared to the previous one in terms of interventions. If it isn't, maybe in San Francisco we can try, but no other cities. I would not be really too comfortable with that unless we can exclude very busy downtown areas. Omar says Tesla should launch a supervised rideshare service to start building the user base worldwide, but there's the twist. Any driver driving on the platform gets FSD activated while they are giving rides. So FSD performs the rideshare tasks and the human supervises. Or maybe it would be too much hassle to deal with all the stuff around human drivers. What do you think, Elon? Asked Omar. Elon did not respond. In the downtown area, the reason why I wouldn't want it to be there is because, yeah, it once every 1 to 3 minutes, if it's busy, I will have to intervene. Usually not because of any safety reasons, but because it just does something really silly, and it's something that you would get honked at. For example, changing lanes sort of last moment. Now, those people that are really into technology and really think about the future, when I show them FSD, they get really excited, even if it does something silly really quickly, and sometimes it does happen. But those people that are not really into technology or they don't really think much about the future, I show it to them and FSD can drive for 45 minutes perfectly. And then it does one silly thing, maybe completely wrong lane selection, and it does this sort of move between the lanes for 10 seconds, and suddenly they're like, not interested, this is not gonna work, forget about it. So if someone gets in a Tesla on FSD in the downtown area and they sort of have this sort of mindset, I think that would be a negative for Tesla, because they would be telling everyone, oh, I got into this Tesla vehicle and selected this lane wrong, and then I didn't let this person in, it was a bit too close to the curb, forget about it. However, in San Francisco, maybe it can work today already. Dano Dowd is continuing to run his ads on X, and this video got 6 million views. So Fred has a slightly sinister take on this. He wonders how Elon Musk feels about Dano Dowd buying ads on X to trash Tesla. On one hand, bad for Tesla, but on the other hand, good for X, he thinks, because of ad revenue. Well, Elon Musk believes in free speech, and we know that community notes appear under ads, and I've seen quite a few of these. For example, you see an ad for a game, and then the community note explains that this is not even a screenshot from the game, basically. Now, this particular ad does not seem to have a community note here, though. This Saturday, I'm definitely not posting a full daily news video on this channel. I will just do a live stream from this channel going through all of the latest news. So if you don't want to miss it, make sure to subscribe to that other channel. I will leave a link to it in the description. Well, this can be interpreted as good or not so good news. XAI has raised $6 billion in Series B funding. Good, because Elon Musk is not selling Tesla stock to put money into XAI. Possibly not so good, because if he doesn't get his compensation package reapproved, would Elon really want to spend more time at Tesla or keep all of his stock that he has from before? Maybe he'll think, oh, well, AI is the future. Let me put more resources towards that, so let me sell some Tesla stock and let me fund this venture instead. Also, clearly Elon Musk is paying attention to XAI. Elon is also actively recruiting for XAI. Join XAI if you believe in our mission of understanding the universe, which requires maximally rigorous pursuit of the truth without regard to popularity or political correctness. And I believe this is the largest Series A or Series B raise ever. Interestingly, Leo Cogwin is not bashing Elon directly about this. I thought he would. It is clear, however, that Elon Musk is very serious about competing with OpenAI. Elon also said there will be more to announce in the coming weeks. I think he's talking not about raising more money, although maybe he is. Maybe it will be some big, massive order from Nvidia. I mean, Elon will need to do something with that $6 billion he just raised. And Elon replied to this, the XAI play is something that many are still underestimating, but not for long, says Elon. You know what I would love Elon to announce? I would love Elon to announce Tesla's investment into XAI. Now, maybe he's waiting for the shareholder vote first. XAI is already valued at $18 billion. This number is from before raising the money. So after raising the money, it is now valued at $24 billion. I think it will be a $100 billion company, and then it will go above that. I'm not so sure, though, if Elon Musk is going to take this company public. I mean, eventually, okay, but when is that going to be? A decade from now? 2 decades from now? But if Tesla could invest some money into XAI, then I think many Tesla shareholders would feel a little bit better about Elon spending time at XAI and working on AI products over there instead of doing similar things at Tesla. But think about that valuation, $24 billion. How much did Elon Musk pay for Twitter? $44 billion. And he supposedly lost about half of that money after acquisition pretty much immediately. And XAI is now worth more than 50% of what Twitter was valued at before the acquisition. But it just shows you how much power Elon Musk has when he wants to start a new company. And I think Elon Musk has a plan of what he's gonna do if the vote goes against him or for him. And before anyone takes Leo Cogwin very seriously, I think this context is important. I shared this about 18 months ago. He actually lost 12 million Tesla shares in 2020 when he got margin called in March of 2020. Since then, I am trying to buy back the lost 12 million shares by trading options to generate profits. Today, I bought back 6.5 million shares. So I would assume that the reason why sometimes Leo Cogman gets a bit out there is because he has some leveraged positions maybe, and he's at risk of losing a lot of money. So if you don't know about Leo Cogman's history of using leverage, then yeah, this sounds perfectly reasonable. Beware of Tesla bulls who denigrate elder Tesla bulls. Cogman Leo is the third largest individual Tesla shareholder with $5 billion invested. To suggest he's not a Tesla bull because he disagrees with Elon on some issues is preposterous. Many in this community have become toxic, trying to bring down fellow bulls because they have the gall to suggest where they believe Elon or Tesla may be wrong. No PR, no advertising, lack of $25,000 EV, price cuts, etc. Respectful disagreements and open discussions are healthy, but when toxic bulls attack other bulls and fabricate lies or make it personal, community leaders need to step in to stop the toxicity. Gary's comment also assumes that the other side is always right and never wrong. The truth is, debates and disagreements are messy and filled with emotion. To expect anything different is to misunderstand human nature. Gary included his latest delivery forecast for the year 2030. He anticipates that Tesla will deliver 8.8 million vehicles. Wall Street is only at 4.6 million, and Wall Street is gonna be wrong. This also just popped up on my feed. Elon Musk replied to basically Gary Black by saying exactly. But Gary was criticizing Elon here, and Elon's reply is about this one. If you're so good at running businesses, why aren't you a multi-billionaire? Glass Lewis advises voting no on Elon's compensation package. Glass Lewis is a leading proxy advisory firm that provides research and recommendations on how shareholders should vote on issues put to them at annual and special meetings. Should you trust this advice? Well, who is behind this company? It's a Canadian firm that was owned by the Ontario Teachers Pension Plan and was acquired by Peloton Capital Management in 2021. PCM's advisory board chair is explicitly connected to the Canadian Prime Minister, who Elon Musk has criticized very directly. I am sure the Prime Minister is aware of Elon Musk's stance against him. Here, look, this guy is a special advisor to the Prime Minister of Canada, so there's certainly at least a pinch of politics involved in this. And Reuters wrote about this, and this story is everywhere. But if you look at the history of Glass Lewis, in 2018, they actually also said to vote no. At that time, institutions owned the majority of Tesla stock, and despite that, the vote passed. Today, only 46% of Tesla stock is owned by institutions. That's because we retail Tesla stock investors keep buying more Tesla stock. Now, does this recommendation carry some weight? Absolutely. I'm sure some people will vote against Elon just because of this recommendation, but the last time it wasn't enough to come nowhere near enough influence to change how the vote turned out. Now, this person seems to be a Tesla engineer, and he says if Elon leaves and Drew Baglino has left, although I believe Drew Baglino was let go because he was posting posts publicly on X and talking about a relatively distant future, and that's not something you do days before you leave the company, I think. But he says, I will dust off my resume to try to get another job if Elon leaves. Don't get me wrong, Tesla has a lot of talented people who I love working with, and Tesla might just do well, but Tesla is still in the super early growth stages and still quite immature as a company where one needs a leader with a big hammer to make the hard decisions. Tesla, if Elon leaves now, will more likely be like the Apple of the Scully era rather than the Apple of the Cook era. Now, that's just one engineer. It's not a consensus of Tesla employees, but I certainly won't be happy if Elon leaves. So if you haven't yet, vote. People can vote from Israel too. Here's a bank from France that you can vote from, a bank in Sweden. This vote is important. I have done something like this once before because I had to go to the bathroom really badly. So maybe FSD just being fed data from people that also had to go to the bathroom. Maybe it was an emergency. Who knows? But definitely it has places to go and it's going to cut in line. It's going to get to your destination faster. Maybe you're going to get honked at, but it was safe. It worked. but I certainly wouldn't want to do this. You know how FSD has 3 modes from chill to aggressive? Maybe Tesla can add one more, bathroom emergency mode. There's quite a bit of talk about the Cybertruck, and this in particular caught my attention. Which one do you think is the Cybertruck? If you guessed it's the blue line, you would be correct. So the best-selling vehicles in the US, the pickup trucks, that's their search volume. But the Cybertruck, which only sells so far not that many trucks because Tesla is limited with its production. What do you think is going to happen when production is no longer the limit? Do you think the Cybertruck is not going to do as well as these other pickup trucks? Switzerland's central bank just reduced its Tesla stock position, but they sold 36% of their loose position and only trimmed its Rivian and Tesla by 3 and 4% respectively. There's also a lot of information about Tesla safety that's coming out right now, and this is why you want to be in a Tesla. 2 Teslas in a row both avoided a collision that was likely to happen if these people were not in Teslas. Because you can see the lights start flashing. That means something is going on with that vehicle. And the same is with the one that you see footage of here. I was working on a sizable business transaction over the weekend, and I had to pay extra accounting fees because of the weekend rates, but the transaction is now mostly over. The contract is fully signed, although they can back out in 3 days. So if something happens, you might not see a video from me sometime in the next 3 days. I will probably just do a Twitter post just letting everyone know that I'm not able to do it. So I didn't have time for a full news video on the weekend, but I did do one 9-minute video on Patreon, and I just posted another one today with good Tesla news. It's from a private source, so I don't think it would be appropriate for me to share that in a public video. A link to sign up for Patreon is down below in the description. Make sure to click the like button so that we can make sure that there's no shadow ban on this channel. There's another video from my other channel showing that it's only getting about half of the views it would normally get because my videos are only shown to about 50% of the regular viewers in the first few days, and then after the first 3 days it does push it out a little bit more, but because it's no longer news, it's old, no one's interested. So I appreciate everyone clicking the like button. That really helps. And going forward, I'm only publishing the full daily news videos on this channel, not on the old channel anymore. So make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, otherwise YouTube may stop showing you these videos completely. Subscribing sends YouTube a strong signal that this is a channel you want to watch.